Okay, Eli, thanks for coming in today. I'm so excited to get started with you, and glad that you called us first. And so let's just take a look. I'll show you this in just a second, but I would just love to hear a little bit about what you're really looking for in a house. I know it sounds like you're getting married soon and you're looking to get something bigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how many bedrooms? What is the least amount of bedrooms that you're looking for?
Probably no less than 4.
Okay, absolutely 4. Okay,
Mhm.
that's great. And so tell me a little bit about your family.
They have 2 kids and a dog, and
Oh, yeah, so you need some space.
and another one on the way, and that's why we're getting married.
Cool. All right. Yes. No cart before the horse there. Anyways, okay, well, that's great. And so 4 bedrooms minimum, it sounds like, and then probably 3 bathrooms. Are you looking for like a finished basement, or are you open as far as that's concerned?
I would prefer a finished basement.
Okay, got it.
And yet I would not rule anything out.
Okay, yep, that makes sense. And you know, we'll set you up a great search that will allow you to see everything that is in your price range, and it'll really inform you of a lot before you even have to go out and look at houses. So by the time you actually go out and look, you'll be able to kind of pick your top 4 or 5 houses, and you'll probably find one. And don't be surprised if, like so many of our clients, you actually find that house. It can sometimes happen the first time out, so don't be afraid. Just, you've done your research online, and then we'll find that house for you. So is there anything else about the home that is an absolute must-have? We got, I mean, you know, some of the basics are the bedrooms, the baths, you know, kind of what kind of a home, but is there anything that is an absolute must-have in the home? Like, I can't even look at it if I don't have this.
No, I don't think
Pretty
necessarily.
open.
You know, I'd like that pool.
That would be nice, but you're open if it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not gonna put that criteria in there because that'll really
Okay.
limit the houses that you can actually see. And the reason that we make it so open is because I'd rather have you get into the portal and actually you can put things in this trash bin and you can heart things and it's really lovely. But you'll be able to kind of control that process a little bit. And certainly if I see anything that I think, wow, this might really fit your needs, I'm gonna send that to you too. But most of all, you're gonna see it first, and so you'll be able to say, oh my goodness, this like seems to be the perfect house, let's run out and see it right away. And even in the $500,000 price range, you're gonna find that some of the best homes really go quickly. So since we've already gotten you pre-approved with Jeff and we're already set to go, you just let me know if you see something that you're absolutely sure about, and let's get out and see it very quickly. So as far as the area, were you wanting to really stick to Woodbury and then Woodbury schools as well then? You don't want to look at, you know, Woodbury has 3 different school districts. They've got the 622, which is North St. Paul, Oakdale, Maplewood. They've got Woodbury, which is South Washington County, 833. And then we also have Stillwater School Districts, 834. Are you committed to kind of staying in the Woodbury School District, or would you be willing to look outside of that?
You know, I think I would rule out anything that was in the 622 school district, but
Okay.
I would
But you
consider anything in the other one, although I prefer the
prefer Woodbury?
Woodbury.
Okay. Do you want me to start out with Woodbury and see if we find what you want there? And then we can always expand it if you're just not seeing what you want. Would that make sense?
Yeah, that seems
Okay, sounds good. And then if we need to expand your area and we're gonna go into Stillwater schools, we may wanna actually expand to Lake Elmo and some of those towns as well. But if you really kind of prefer to be in Woodbury, let's try that first and stick with where you really wanna be. And then if we need to expand, we'll explore that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. Now, if you had to consider a couple of your wants, you know, we've got the absolute basic, we have to have these things. But what about things that like, oh, I really love an open floor plan, or I really love a loft upstairs, or things like that. And that's just for me to know when I see something that I can send it to you right away and say, oh my gosh, this has all of this stuff. Is there anything like that that if it had this would be perfect? I heard a pool. What else?
I would love an open floor plan.
Okay. Yep.
A loft as well. Those are all very nice things that,
Yeah.
that would definitely pique my interest.
Okay.
Although
Yeah.
I don't believe any of them are must absolutes.
Right, okay, so you'd be willing to look at other houses, but these would be great things, and it sounded like the finished basement was kind of like that as well, okay.
Yeah, that's
got
more,
it.
that's a stronger preference than the
Sure.
others, but yeah.
Yeah, and as far as like updates in the home, are you a person who likes to do fix-it handyman stuff, or are you like, nah, I'd kind of lean toward new construction?
My wife won't let me do fix-it handyman stuff.
I get it,
For my
I get it.
fiance.
Yeah, no, you don't want to do that anyways.
No.
It's better to. And within the 500 range, a lot of new construction is available right now, so you never know that we might not find something brand new for you as well. Anything else that you can think of about the house or the property, maybe the yard, anything like that I should write down just so that I can have a good picture of what you love?
I'd like to be near good walking paths.
Okay,
and parks
yep.
and things like that. Those appeal.
You're in the right place because
Right.
Woodbury is known, as you know, for its walking paths. Okay, well that gives me a really good place to start. And as we look at homes together, you're going to be able to tell me a little bit more about, we're going to actually be in the property, so you can say, I really love this feel, and we can talk about that, and that'll give me a really good picture. But this is just a place for us to start. So this gives me a good start, and I think I've got a lot of good notes. If you think of anything else, as we're talking today, just let me know. And I'm just going to run through this buyer paperwork, which is just kind of some informational stuff for you so that we can talk a little bit through the process and make sure that you understand the process, that you feel confident, so that when you find the right home, you're actually able to make an offer and feel confident in your next steps, okay? So this will give you a high-level overview, and then during the process, I'm going to be advising you every step of the way. So you don't have to remember all of this. This is just for information right now. So this talks a little bit about, here we've got all of our information here. And actually, you know what, I like to start, and let me just hang on here. This is a little bit about our team. Just so that you know you're not hiring a bunch of yahoos off the street here. This is a little bit about us. We are in the top 2% of all real estate agents and teams within the Twin Cities. We've got 10 to 15 years now. Actually, I think this is 15 years. I need to update this, working with buyers and sellers. And what I want you to know is we work with first-time home buyers right on up to luxury buyers in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And that's because we work a lot by referral. And so because we work by referral, we work in all different price points and within the states of Minnesota and Wisconsin. So if you know anybody else that might be looking for help in real estate, no matter where they're coming from as far as price point, types of homes, things like that, we are happy to help. So you just let us know. We've got listing and buyer specialists plus support staff. So how that helps you is that you know all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, and that you can feel very confident that your purchase is going to close on time, as much as we can, be in charge of that. So we are just making sure that every step of the way we're covering everything for you, so you don't have to worry. And we'll remind you of things that you need to do, so you don't have to be like, oh, what do I do next? We'll let you know. We'll keep you updated step by step. As far as group affiliations, is just a little bit of where we network. A lot of times our networking can lead us to off-market properties as well, where we find out about a property before we even, it hits the market. We're able to tell you about that. As far as education, real estate education is ongoing because, as you know or may not know, it only takes about 3 weeks to get your real estate license. So you really want to hire someone who is very educated as an ongoing process. And Keller Williams is great about making sure that we continue to be educated so that we can be the best representation for you, and we know all the most up-to-date tactics and negotiation and things like that, so that we can represent you at the highest level. Now, as far as community, we're very involved in the community. We do a lot of things within this community. We're part of the Chamber of Commerce, things like that, so that we can, again, be networking, be helping our clients at a higher level. And then we'll get to know each other much more on a personal level as well. As far as our team, we love seeing our clients again. We're going to be working together here for the next couple of months to find you a house, and then it's like, okay, you're off into your life. But we do like to have events so that we can see you again and we don't just lose track. And of course, as always, we love to work with your friends and family as well. Do you have any questions about our team?
Well, I don't think so.
Okay, and I'd just like to tell you a little bit about us. I really don't like talking about us so much. I just want you to feel confident in hiring the team that, you know, that we've built here. And so that's why we talk about this. But really, ultimately, this process is all about you. And so today we're talking about your needs, your dreams, your concerns, your questions, your finances, your time, and your life. So our focus is really on your complete satisfaction. We want you to be extremely happy. So throughout the process, again, we're going to be reminding you of different things. We're going to be helping you through every step of the process. And at any time, if you have questions or if you feel like, oh, is this right? Or, you know, what about this pricing or anything like that, we're willing to take more steps to make sure that you feel confident in your purchase. So just lay it all out there. You can text us, you can email us, you can call us anytime, and we're happy to help you with anything that you need, okay? And as far as your home search, we're starting there, and that's why I ask so many questions about the home search and the home that you're looking for, so that I can help you and be knowledgeable of what you're really looking for and make sure that I really have a good feel for that. Because throughout this, obviously, I'm always out visiting builders, visiting different homes and things like that, and if I see one that I'm like, wow, they would love this home, I'm absolutely going to show you that, even if you haven't maybe noticed it in your search. Sometimes seeing a home in person is different than just seeing it online. Now, this is the one that people actually come back to quite frequently. And I'm just gonna make sure that my video is videoing, and it is. Okay, I just thought about that. Okay, so this is the one that a lot of times people will come back to just to kind of remind themselves of, where am I in this process? Now, first thing is selecting a real estate agent, so I'm glad you're here. You're at the first step. We have done this backwards. We already got you financially pre-approved, so you're already pre-approved. We've got the form letter, and then we'll get an address-specific letter once we're ready to write an offer on a property. We're analyzing your needs right now in a buyer consultation, so that's why we ask so many questions, so we can really understand what you're looking for. And then we're gonna select properties. We'll view your top 4 or 5 properties, and then we're gonna write an offer to purchase. And so when we write that offer, we're gonna get into more of the nitty-gritty details of, you know, what kind of a price do you wanna offer, what sorts of things are included in that offer. Generally, anything affixed to the property is included. We'll talk through all of that at that time, because I don't wanna overwhelm you right now. Now, one thing I like to point out is, at the point of writing the offer, negotiating the terms with the seller, and accepting the contract, right here is when we're gonna need earnest money, okay? So that is an upfront cost, and it's about 1% of the purchase price of the home. So say you buy a home for $500,000 on the dot, it would be about $5,000 that we would want for earnest money. Now, the earnest money is actually something that is held by the listing broker. They hold it until closing, and then at closing, that is dispersed as part of your closing costs or as part of your down payment. So it's not a money that's lost. The only time that you could ever lose earnest money is, say you get beyond all of the inspections, you get beyond all of your contingencies, and then you just decide one day that you don't feel like buying that home. Well, then they could try to take your earnest money, of course. But usually I don't think I've ever had a client lose their earnest money, so that will be applied to your down payment. Now, once we accept the contract, that is the first step of celebration. That's an exciting time, and during that time we're going to remove all the contingencies. So most likely you'll want to do an inspection. Is that something you've thought about?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And if you have new construction, you can still do an inspection on new construction. Oftentimes I actually recommend people do an inspection right before their year review with the builder, because you have a year warranty with the builder, and a lot of times you can have that right before your year review, and you'll have a list of things that they can come and fix. So we can talk about that more if you choose new construction. We'll conduct any inspections, resolve those issues. We're looking for major health and safety issues. We're not looking to nitpick the house necessarily or change carpet at that point. It's really health and safety issues that are kind of a bigger deal, maybe a deal breaker. We'll remove all contingencies then. Your mortgage lender is going to make sure to do another credit check, underwriting, appraisal, survey, and insurance. Get all those things in order and send that off to the underwriter, who is a physical pair of eyes. He's going to look over that and make sure everything looks good, and we'll get approval on that. The title company in the background, so they're doing all this in the background. You don't have to worry about this. They may ask you for some information, but they're doing all of this for you. They're going to conduct the title search, remove any encumbrances, obtain title insurance for you. That satisfies the lender. And then at the end of the day, what happens is we obtain funds for closing, We close on the property. It usually takes about an hour on closing day, and you usually take possession of the home that very day. Sometimes they'll ask us for 24 hours, but usually we take possession that day. So any questions? I know that's kind of a big process for you to look at. Any questions on that right now? We'll go through it step by step again as we go through the process.
Yeah, I keep hearing about everyone losing out on multiple offers. What happens when that happens?
Yes, multiple offers are very, they're happening a lot in this marketplace. And so that's why I say if you see something that you like, it's best for us to get out there right away, not wait for an open house, not wait until later. It's best for us to get out there right away. And we've had great success in winning in multiple offers because we write very clean offers at that point. So if we know that we're in multiple offers, we're going to have that conversation at that time and say, we may even have to go over the list price in order to get the home. That happens a lot in this market.
What do you mean by a clean offer?
So by a clean offer, what I mean by that is we're writing terms that the seller prefers. So a lot of times I'm going to call that listing agent and say, hey, what closing date is your seller looking for, so that we can make sure that we're working with them, because it sounds like you're a little bit flexible on your closing date. So we can do that. That gives us leverage. We're also going to ask, are there any other offers? Now, they could choose to tell us or not tell us if there are other offers. So they may not tell us everything about their situation. They don't have to technically. So they're going to tell us as much as their seller has allowed them to. And so we're going to try to find out a little bit about their situation and what might make that offer look really good to them. We're also going to butter ourselves up a little bit to the listing agent so that they like us and so that they would maybe tell us more than they might tell the other people. So we'll work with them through that process to make sure that our offer is within the closing time frame that they want, that we give 1% or more in earnest money. That tells how serious we are. If it's a very clean home, you may choose not to do an inspection. I never recommend that necessarily. However, I've had people do it in order to win in multiple offers because they saw, well, these people have taken really good care of this house, and there's no way that there's anything about the house that an inspection would find that I would not decide to buy the house. Does that make sense? Yeah, so there are little contingencies that we can take out and make it more advantageous for the seller. And we do that sometimes in multiple offers, and we'll go through kind of some of those details a little bit more when we get to that offer process. Anything else you can think of as far as questions here?
No, I don't think so.
It's a pretty straightforward process, and again, we'll just kind of keep you rolling through that. You talked through the mortgage and loan process with Jeff. He's going to take care of all of this for you, so you really don't have to worry. And it asks here why pre-qualify, and we talked about that. It's so that you're more like a cash buyer. You're not technically a cash buyer, but you're as close as you can be. And Jeff is going to call that listing agent and assure them how well qualified you are as well. So he'll make sure to kind of put in a good word for you as well when we write an offer. Now, making an offer, as far as that's concerned, we're going to be looking at the price, the move-in day. We talked about those a little bit. Additional properties such as appliances, washer and dryer, window treatments, things like that. They can accept, reject, or counter the offer with changes. And so basically, this is the realm in which we work negotiations, right? So if we write a very clean offer like we talked about, a lot of times they're just going to say, you know what, I like your offer. Let's accept that. Now, most sellers aren't going to reject an offer outright. Usually they're going to counter it with some terms. Maybe they don't like the closing date, or they want more money for the property. They don't want to pay closing costs, things like that. So any of those could happen, and usually we negotiate that to a win-win for both the buyer and the seller. Any questions on that? Okay. Closing, basically we're just preparing for it. We're making sure you have your photo ID, all of that good stuff, a certified check for closing costs. Be aware that if you're ever wiring funds, that you should call before you wire. We'll talk about a form that talks about that as well. And then our title company will handle all the funds for you, so you don't have to mess around with getting stuff to a seller or to their agent. They'll take care of all of that at closing. They're actually going to deliver the deed for you and record it and do all of that for you. So you really don't have a lot to do except sign, so get your signing hand ready. It's a pretty quick process, about an hour or less. Usually our closer is pretty quick, so it's a good process. Couple of frequently asked questions. How will you show me the newest homes available? Like I told you, the search is going to be our best, quickest way to show you those homes. You may see those homes before I do. So if you see, oh my gosh, this house came into my search today, I've got 10, 20 searches going for different buyers. You have your search, and so you may see it before I do. So give me a call, shoot me a text, and we can get out and see it right away. And if I can't show it as I told you, we've got a whole team that can show you homes. So if I'm not available, Lydia will be available. If Lydia's not available, Eli might be available. So we'll get you out there as fast as we possibly can, which is the benefit of having a team working for you. Are we looking at all real estate companies' homes, or are we just looking at Keller Williams? We are going to look at any homes that you want to. And even if you see new construction or for sale by owner, we can actually work with those as well. If you see a for sale by owner, just shoot me over the information, maybe take a picture of the sign, and I can call and negotiate that for you as well to get a showing. And then if we like it, we can write an offer on that. Can we go through a home again after the offer is made but before possession? Generally, I encourage you to go to the inspection and spend some time in the home, because the inspector is going to be running around doing all of his stuff. You don't have to follow him necessarily unless you want to, but this is a great time for you to take some measurements, to just kind of get a feel for the spaces, think about furniture, things like that. It's actually, a 3 to 4 hour period of time that you can just spend in that home. So if you're able to go to the whole time, it's a really nice time to kind of get the feel. Once my offer is accepted, what should I do? Celebrate and focus on moving. If you need referrals for movers, anything like that, you just let us know, because we can help with that as well. Okay? And lastly, this is a little bit about Keller Williams Realty. We're top in technology, teamwork, knowledge, reliability, proven track record. We are the #1 company in the nation for a reason, because Gary Keller has built a company that is very much on the cutting edge of everything new that's coming up in real estate, really wanting us to stay on track to be the #1 company. And what's ahead? This just talks a little bit about some of the things we're going to do. We're obviously going to help with looking at photos, addresses, all of the information on the homes. We'll get you all of that. But also, more importantly, we're going to provide you with more detailed information. We may call and reach out to listing agents to find different things out for you. Tax records, scheduling private visits, touring the home with you, determining if the asking price is actually accurate. You want to know that you're writing a good offer, and that if they're underpriced, we write higher because we're in multiple offers, say. Or what if they're overpriced? We certainly don't want to overpay for a home either. As much as the market is crazy, we don't want to overpay for a home. And then obviously answering any and all questions that you might have along the way. So you'll have plenty of time to ask questions. Any questions on that? Okay. And this just talks about why choose buyer representation, and we'll talk through that in the agency relationships. And really the reason is because you have someone on your side representing your side of the transaction. As you know, the listing agent who has the house listed is representing the seller. So their job is actually to get the best deal for the seller and to make sure that they are covered on every front. Our job is to help you to get the best deal on the home and to make it a win-win, and to follow through the process with you to make sure that you are getting the best deal and that you're very comfortable with that process. So it's really having a negotiation ally on your side to make sure everything goes smoothly for you. And then this just kind of recaps everything that we're going to help you with: the property search, market data, the purchase offer, negotiating, handling all the details, as well as if you need any referrals, again, to contractors or handymen or moving company, anything like that, we're happy to help with any of that. So any questions on the little packet here? I'll give you this to take home with you as well. And then you can feel free to call with any questions too, because sometimes you hear it all here and then you're like, oh, what did she talk about? I'll give you that. And lastly, I'm just going to show you the paperwork so that we can go ahead and sign everything and get it ready to go. I'll set up the search for you, and everything will be explained here, and I think we'll be ready to go. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, this is just a disclosure. This isn't actually a contract for representation here. Minnesota law requires that we show you this, and it says this is a disclosure, not a contract. We'll talk through the contract in just a second. This is telling us that there is a seller's broker, there is a buyer's broker. I just explained that a little bit. The seller's broker is representing the seller's interest. Here we'll be representing your interest. And there is dual agency. That would be if we go and see a house that is represented, the seller is represented by Keller Williams Premier Realty. That would be dual agency. And what we owe in that case is a higher level of confidentiality. Meaning, if I knew anything about that seller, I couldn't tell you. If I knew anything that would hinder their negotiation, I could not tell you. Now, do I usually know anything about them? not really. You know, if Travis or Matt or anyone from our office is listing a property, I usually don't know about their sellers anyways. I may know about a seller though if it's my seller, so I just have to have a higher level of confidentiality. Likewise, I can't tell them anything about you, or you know, if you were under the gun or something like that, I couldn't tell them that. So we want it to be fair for everybody if that happens to happen. Doesn't happen often, but it could. Now here it talks about facilitators. We don't do this a lot. That'd be someone who just maybe writes up a document for someone. But what we owe you as your representation is loyalty, obedience, disclosure, confidentiality, reasonable care, and accounting. And these are fiduciary responsibilities, kind of like attorneys owe to their clients or financial planners. We take these very seriously. They are the highest level of responsibility that you can have to a client. Basically what they say is that we're putting your interests above our own interests or above earning a commission. We really want you to be represented at a high level. Lastly, notice regarding predatory offender information. So unfortunately, we have to give you this notice, and right here, there's a website, and if you'd ever like to look for predators in a neighborhood, you can look at the website, and that will show you if there are any, level 3 sexual predators. It's a sad state of affairs. So I'll have you sign here and here.
Okay, I think I probably should just read this. I'm just kidding.
You can totally read that, yeah. Okay, perfect. All right, thank you so much. And don't forget to initial down there, absolutely. This is another disclosure. We have a lot of disclosures in real estate, okay? So this discloses that Partners Title is affiliated with Keller Williams Premier Realty, meaning the owners of our company actually own a part of Partners Title. Now, we don't generally use Partners Title. We usually use Title Smart, and yet you can use whoever you want to for title. If you'd like to use Title Smart, we'll just send your stuff there. Do you have any best friends in title or anything like that? Usually people don't, so. So this doesn't really affect you, but I still have to have you sign it. So I'll have you sign that. Okay, perfect. And these are some more disclosures. Fancy that. Actually, this one's a twofer. I'll give you 2 for 1. Keller Williams Premier Realty expertise says that we are not tax advisors, we're not accountants, we're not doing anything but helping you through a real estate transaction. We can't give you legal advice or anything like that. Buyer's multiple offer acknowledgement just says that we will ask if there are multiple offers on a property, yet they do not necessarily have to tell us. So just be aware of that. There is a broker admin commission of $3.99 on every transaction. That'll be a part of your closing costs. Buyer home inspection waiver would be if we're waiving the home inspection. However, we are not waiving the home inspection, so I'm going to cross that out. The only way we would waive that is if you build with a builder or if you buy a spec home. You may want to waive that until later on in the process. Final walkthrough happens usually the day of closing. Sometimes if we can't get it scheduled that day, we'll schedule it for the day before closing, and what we're looking for is just to make sure the house looks the same as when you bought it. Carbon monoxide detectors in real estate have been a big deal since 2008, and so we really want to make sure those are there because the appraiser may catch them, so we look for those. And then video camera awareness simply states that there may be video cameras in any house, and they may or may not have disclosed the fact that there are video cameras in the house. We ask them to disclose it, and they don't always do that. So just be aware of that, and just kind of be aware of what you say within the house and how much you say in the house. So I'll have you initial.
I've actually got my own pen.
Oh, you do? Oh, wow. You are fancy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And then this one is the actual contract for us to represent you. Now, 100% of our buyers seek representation from us because of the fact that this means that our fiduciary responsibility is to represent your best interest. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so this is you. This is Keller Williams Premier Realty and the Angela Sadat Group. We're going to make this contract from today until December 31st of 2019. And the reason that we do that is we put all of our dates on July 31st and December 31st just to keep them straight. If you decided not to buy before then, we can always extend this contract. If you decide that you hate us for some reason, we can cancel the contract. We've never had that happen, but we hope it doesn't. But we want you to feel safe in signing a contract with us. And we trust that if we do our job and we're honest and upfront with you and we work really hard for you, you're gonna work with us, right? So we'll work toward a great ending for you. Now, our obligation is to assist you in the negotiations to help you find properties, all the things that we talked about earlier, and your only obligation is to work exclusively with us through the process. So I don't encourage you to necessarily go to, Realtor.com and Zillow and things like that. Don't push those buttons and call those agents, because those agents are not representing you. They may be representing the seller, in fact. So definitely call us first, and we will help you to find the information that you need. Now, this talks about compensation here, and I like to go through this because sometimes it can be weird when you read it later, and I know you're probably going to take this home and read it all night tonight, so I want to make sure that it makes sense. We're not taking a retainer fee of any kind. And now this says that buyer shall pay broker as compensation 2.7% of the selling price. And now you may be like, wait a second, I thought you said that I don't pay commission as the buyer, right? And we did say that. However, down here, it says that any compensation accepted by the broker from the seller or the broker representing the seller shall reduce any obligation for you as the buyer to pay the compensation that was listed up here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying how they wrote it there, but that's how they wrote it. Legal people wrote it. So this basically says, no, you don't pay. And we're actually going to sign another piece of paper that will show you that even more clearly. This kind of says it in a weird way, but basically that's the point. Now this I call the open house clause. This basically says that the way that you locate a property could affect our ability to receive compensation from another broker. What that means is, for instance, if you go calling a listing agent, or if you go into an open house and you don't let them know that you're represented and you sign in with them and act as though you may be their client eventually, they could try to assume representation. So I generally would love it if we could do private showings more so than open houses. Now, you will be tempted and you're going to be like, oh, but I saw this open house driving home today, and you really want to go in. And I'm going to give you a few of my cards. You can hand one of my cards to that agent and just ask them if it's okay that you come and see the house without me, and then give me a call if you really like it. I always prefer to do private showings because you're not showing your hand at all with those agents. So, I mean, if you're driving by, I totally get it, and yet private showings are best for us. Now, we're looking for residential personal property. Closing is totally up to you, as I explained. However, I'm assuming you would like me to arrange for the closing, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll have you initial there. Okay, and then there are additional costs, obviously closing costs. We've talked a little bit about that, and Jeff will have all of those for you. He'll make a whole spreadsheet of what those are, and the title company will be involved in that. You're not a foreign investor, and we're going to ask that the seller of the property is also not a foreign investor, because that can incur more taxes for them. So the title company will take care of that for you. Private inspection and warranties are available for you, and we'll talk through those as well.
Oh, okay. Tell me that was off.
Yeah, no, it's on.
Oh.
As far as agency representation, this is just saying that you're okay with us showing you other Keller Williams Premier Realty homes. Is that all right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll have you sign there. Now, we may know other potential buyers looking at the same property as you. It doesn't happen often, but it could. Previous agency relationship says that we might have a previous agency relationship with a seller of a property that we look at. Could happen. Termination of fiduciary duties, except for confidentiality, happens at the closing of the property that you choose to purchase. And then notice regarding predatory offenders is again here, so you can look at this website. We'll see it again on the purchase agreement, so they really want you to know about that. Electronic signatures are now binding in the state of Minnesota, and this is consenting for us to communicate, which is great. So I'll have you sign here if that all sounds good and you're okay with communicating. Perfect. This is just a wire fraud alert. As I explained before, call before you wire. People have been intercepting emails and things like that. Don't trust emails when wiring funds. We actually recommend that you just bring a cashier's check to closing these days. So I'll have you sign that. Perfect. And this is the sheet I was talking about. Now this says from the seller or owner and their broker, we're going to get that 2.7%. The only thing that you pay as a part of your closing costs is the $3.99. Make sense? Okay, we'll have you sign that. Perfect. All right. Now I threw a lot at you. Do you have any questions before I let you move on to the rest of your evening?
I don't think so.
Okay, perfect. Well, we're really looking forward to working with you. I'm gonna run and set up the search for you, so as soon as you get home, it should be there. It usually comes very quickly. And would you like a PDF of these, or do you want a physical copy?
I think a PDF is okay.
PDF is okay? Okay, I'll have Lori send that in the morning, and we'll get that off to you. And I look forward to looking at houses with you, and I'll let you get on to your day.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much. Great to see you.